Hello everybody, welcome into another lesson. So today we are going to talk about adding and subtracting fractions. So if we recall, when you add or subtract fractions, you have to get a least common denominator in order to be able to add or subtract them. Otherwise you can't do it. Well, look at this one here, 6 over 4x squared plus 2 over 5x. What you can do to help yourself to reduce your least common denominator is look for anything you can simplify right out the gate. Well, in your first term, 6 and over 4x squared, 6 and 4 both have a common factor of 2, don't they? You could simplify this down to 3 over 2x squared plus 2 over 5x. That'll reduce the least common denominator that you need. Now, what I'm going to suggest to help you is off to the side somewhere, figure out what your least common denominator needs to be. For your constants, your 2 and 5, 2 doesn't go into 5 evenly, so your only choice to get the constant term for your least common denominator is to multiply 2 and 5. So for sure you're going to have 10 as part of it. And then between x and x squared, the least common denominator for x and x squared would be x squared. So your total least common denominator is going to need to be 10x squared. So now you need to multiply each term by the appropriate number to get that 10x squared. So for your first term, to get a denominator of 10x squared, you just got to multiply by 5. So multiply both numerator and denominator by 5. You should get 15 over 10x squared plus, now to get from 5x to 10x squared, you have to multiply both numerator and denominator by 2x. So you'll get 2 times 2x over 10x squared, which would simplify this into 15 plus 4x over 10x squared, which, if we're writing this in proper descending order, would give you 4x plus 15 over 10x squared. And we can't factor out the numerator at all. Nothing else will cancel out. So the best you can do is you'll get 4x plus 15 over 10x squared for your answer. I got 11 more examples of this here. Alright, the next one. We have negative 4 over 7x minus 5 over 3x. Alright, well, nothing factors out right away, so let's deal with our constant terms. 3 doesn't go into 7, so your best hope is to multiply them. 7 times 3 is 21. And then you have an x to the first in both of the terms, so your least common denominator would be 21x. Now you need to multiply both terms by the appropriate number, the appropriate expression rather, to get that denominator of 21x. So for the first term, that negative 4 over 7x, in order to get a denominator of 21x, you'll have to multiply both numerator and denominator by 3, which would end up giving you negative 12 over 21x minus, now that 3x to turn into 21x, you have to multiply both numerator and denominator by 7. So this would be 35 over 21x. So now negative 12 minus 35, that's going to end up being negative 47 over 21x. And that's the best we could simplify this into. You would get negative 47 over 21x. All right. We have 7 over 6 times x minus 2 minus the x minus 3 over 6x. Okay, well, we have the constant of 6. 6 goes into 6 evenly, so for sure 6 will be part of your least common denominator. Now one term has an x minus 2, one has an x. So you're just going to have to multiply x times x minus 2. So your least common denominator should end up being 6x times x minus 2. So now we have to multiply both terms appropriately to get that. For your first term, 7 over 6 times x minus 2, you would just need to multiply both numerator and denominator by x. So you should get 7x over 6x times x minus 2 minus, now for your second term, you just need to multiply numerator and denominator by x minus 2. So this would be minus x minus 3 times x minus 2 over 6x times x minus 2. Which, let's go ahead now, since they have the same denominator, and perform our operation. So this would turn into 7x minus, let's FOIL this, this would be x squared minus 5x plus 6 all over 6x times x minus 2, which would simplify further into negative x squared plus 12x minus 6 all over 6x times x minus 2. But let's see if we can simplify this any further. Can we simplify this any further? I don't think we can. There's nothing else that's going to factor, so the best we can do is this right here. You'll get negative of x squared plus 12x minus x, all that divided by 6x times x minus 2. So that's the best you can do there. Alright. We have 6x plus 1 over x squared minus 9 plus 4 all over x minus 3. In these situations, we know x squared minus 9 will factor, right? Why don't we go ahead and factor what we can factor? So this would be 6x plus 1 over x plus 3 times x minus 3, all that plus 4 over x minus 3. Alright, so both terms in the denominator have an x minus 3, but only one of them also has an x plus 3. So your least common denominator would really be the quantity of x plus 3 times the quantity of x minus 3. So your first term already has your least common denominator, but your second term does not. So that means you need to multiply both numerator and denominator by x plus 3 in order to get that least common denominator on the second term. So you'd have 6x plus 1 all over x plus 3 times x minus 3 plus 4 times the quantity of x plus 3 all over x plus 3 times the quantity of x minus 3. Now you have your least common denominator on both terms. We can proceed to add this. So this would end up being 6x plus 1 plus 4x plus 4 all over x plus 3 times x minus 3 which would give you 10x plus 5 all over x plus 3 times x minus 3. And in your numerator, yes, you could factor out a common 5. You get 5 times 2x plus 1, but nothing that's going to cancel out with the denominator. So we might as well leave this alone. In the end, you should get 10x plus 5 over x plus 3 times x minus 3. All right. We have 10 over x squared minus 5x minus 14 plus 2 over x minus 7. Well, again, I'm going to highly suggest we factor everything we can factor. So your first term, you'll have 10 over that x squared minus 5x minus 14 would factor into x minus 7 times x plus 2. Then you'd have plus 2 over x minus 7. Well, both terms have an x minus 7, but only one of them has an x plus 2. So your least common denominator would be that x minus 7 times x plus 2. So now we just need to get the least common denominator on both terms and add these fractions together. Well, you already have that on your first term. It's just the second term you got to deal with. So you'll have to multiply both numerator and denominator by x plus 2. So this will turn into 10 over x minus 7 times x plus 2 plus 2 times x plus 2 all over x minus 7 times x plus 2. Alright, now we both have the same denominator, we can add these. So this will turn into 10 plus 2x plus 4 all over x minus 7 times x plus 2, which would give you 2x plus 14 over x minus 7 times x plus 2. Well, yes, you could factor out a common 2 in the numerator, but that would give you 2 times the quantity of x plus 7, nothing that's going to cancel out with the denominator, so you can leave this as 2x plus 14 over x minus 7 times x plus 2. Alright, we have 5x minus 1 all over x squared plus 2x minus 8 minus 6 all over x plus 4. So we have 5x minus 1 over x squared plus 2x minus 8 minus 6 over x plus 4. Well, let's factor out what we can factor. That would be in your first term in the numerator. This would turn into 5x minus 1 over x plus 4 times x minus 2. Then you'd have minus the 6 over x plus 4. Well, both terms have an x plus 4, but the first term's the only one that also has an x minus 2. So your least common denominator would be x plus 4 times the quantity of x minus 2. So now we need to get the least common denominator on both terms. The first term's already there, so you have 5x minus 1 all over x plus 4 times x minus 2. But your second term, you're going to have to multiply both numerator and denominator by that x minus 2. So 6 times x minus 2 all over x plus 4 times x minus 2. And now that both terms have the same denominator, we can carry on with our subtraction. So this would turn into 5x minus 1 minus 6x plus 12 all over the quantity of x plus 4 times x minus 2, which would simplify into negative x plus 11 all over x plus 4 times x minus 2. And that's the best we could do with this. You get negative x plus 11 all over x plus 4 times x minus 2. And we're already halfway there. We're already halfway through the lesson. All right. So we have 4x squared over 3x plus 5 minus 10 all over x plus 8. This is going to be a bit of a doozy because nothing factors out and both terms only have one of these, so your least common denominator is truly going to be the quantity of 3x plus 5 times the quantity of x plus 8. Alright, so let's go ahead and achieve these least common denominators. In order to get your least common denominator on the first term, you got to multiply both numerator and denominator by that x plus 8. So this would turn into 4x squared times x plus 8 all over 3x plus 5 times the quantity of x plus 8 minus your second term. You need to multiply both numerator and denominator by 3x plus 5. So minus 10 times 3x plus 5 all over that 3x plus 5 times x plus 8. Now that we have the same denominator, we can proceed. So let's do some distributing. You would get 4x to the third plus 32x squared minus 30x minus 50 all over 3x plus 5 times x plus 8. Well, let's take a look at something here. Let's see if we can do any of this. Let's see if any of this will factor. Well, we know in the numerator you could factor out a common 2, which would end up giving you 2x to the third plus 16. Well, here, hold on a second. I need to factor out the 2. So 2 times 2x to the third plus 16x squared minus 15x minus 25 all over that 3x plus 5 times that x plus 8. And really, can we do anything else here? I don't think we're going to be able to, because even if you try to factor by grouping, you get you don't get an even thing with grouping. But let's see if there's any synthetic division way to factor this further. This can get messy sometimes. Let's see if we can use synthetic division. So 2 for the x squared, 2 for the cube, 16 for the squared, negative 15 for the first, and then negative 25 on the constant. Let me see here. So that would be 2. I'm just experimenting here with some synthetic division. No, that's definitely not going to work. Sometimes you got to see if you can factor this any further. Alright, so let's see. That would give me 14, negative 14, so that would end up being negative 29. That'd be 29. Nope, you get a remainder of 4. That doesn't work. Two definitely wouldn't work, because if you take your p over q, that's not going to work. So what about 5? So that'd be 10. That would be 26. Oh no, you'll definitely be up there in remainders. That's definitely not going to work. Neither would negative 5. What about 5 halves? So that'd be 5. No, you'll end up getting a fractional answer. Not looking good. No, that's not going to work. So it really doesn't factor any further. So the best you can hope to do is you would end up getting this whole mess here. 2 times the quantity of 2x to the third plus 16x squared minus 15x minus 25 all over 3x plus 5 times x plus 8. That one was a bit of a doozy, but sometimes you'll have that. Alright, let's see. We have 2 minus 5x all over x minus 10 plus 1 all over 3x plus 2. So 2 minus 5x over x minus 10 plus 1 over 3x plus 2. Well, each of these terms have different denominators, so you're going to have to multiply both denominators to get a least common denominator of x minus 10 times 3x plus 2. So in order to get the common denominator on the first term, you're going to have to multiply both numerator and denominator by 3x plus 2. So this would turn into 2 minus 5x times 3x plus 2 over x minus 10 times 3x plus 2. Then for your second term, you have to multiply both numerator and denominator by x minus 10. So this would turn into x minus 10 all over x minus 10 times 3x plus 2. Now we can proceed since both have the same common denominator. So let's see, this would turn into 6x plus 4 minus 15x squared minus 10x plus x minus 10 all over the quantity of x minus 10 times 3x plus 2, which would simplify into negative 15x squared minus 4x, so that would be minus 3x minus 6 all over the quantity of x minus 10 times 3x plus 2. Let's see if we can factor out anything in the numerator any further. Well, we can definitely factor out a negative 3, right? So you would get negative 3 times 5x squared plus x plus 2 all over x minus 10 times the quantity of 3x plus 2. And it doesn't appear that the numerator would factor any further, so this is the best you can get. Negative 3 times 5x squared plus x plus 2 all over x minus 10 times 3x plus 2. I have about 4 more. Let's see, we have x squared plus x minus 3 all over x squared minus 12x plus 32 plus 3x all over x minus 8. Well, let's see what we can factor out here. The first term, the numerator, definitely isn't going to factor. Yeah, I got it right. The denominator, though, will definitely factor. So you'll have x squared plus x minus 3 all over, this would turn into x minus 8 times x minus 4. Plus you'll have a 3x over x minus 8. Well, you notice both terms have an x minus 8, but only the first term also has an x minus 4. So your least common denominator would in fact be x minus 8 times x minus 4. So we now need to make both of these terms have that least common denominator. Well, in the first term you already have it. This will be x squared plus x minus 3 all over x minus 8 times x minus 4. Now, for the second term, you need to multiply both numerator and denominator by x minus 4. So this would be 3x times x minus 4 all over x minus 8 times x minus 4. So now that we have the same denominator for both, we can proceed. So this would be x squared plus x minus 3 plus 3x squared minus 12x all over x minus 8 times x minus 4, which would turn into 4x squared minus 11x minus 3 all over x minus 8 times x minus 4. But the big question is, can we factor out the numerator any further? Let's investigate that. So let's see, we should have an x, and then we should also have a 4x So that should be 3, that should be 1. So let's see. 4x squared plus x minus 12x. Yeah, that give you minus 11x minus 3 all over x minus 8 times x minus 4. Well, it turns out you can factor the numerator, but nothing cancels out with the denominator. So really, this is the best we can get. You would end up getting x minus 3 quantity times 4x plus 1 all over x minus 8 times x minus 4. And that would be the best you could get. Alright, 3 more. We have 2x plus 1 all over x squared plus 8x plus 16 minus 3 all over x squared minus 16. Alright, so first thing I'm going to suggest is we definitely factor both of your denominators. So this would turn into 2x plus 1 all over x plus 4 squared minus 3 all over x plus 4 times x minus 4. So this is going to be a bit of a doozy. So let's look at these here. Both denominators have at least one x plus 4, but your first denominator has an x plus 4 squared. So for sure you're going to have an x plus 4 squared as part of your denominator. Now only the second denominator has an x minus 4. So your total least common denominator would be the quantity of x plus 4 squared times x minus 4. So now we need to take the appropriate steps to make both of these have the same least common denominator. That means for the first term, you're going to have to multiply both numerator and denominator by x minus 4. So this would turn into 2x plus 1 times the quantity of x minus 4 all over x plus 4 squared times x minus 4 minus, now let's look at your second term. You have an x minus 4 in the second term, and you have one x plus 4, but you need to have x plus 4 squared. That means you need to multiply the numerator and denominator by x plus 4. So this would be 3 times x plus 4 all over x plus 4 squared times x minus 4. Now that we have the same common denominators, we can proceed. So this would turn into 2x squared minus 8x plus x minus 4 minus 3x minus 12 all over x plus 4 squared times x minus 4. Which, let's simplify this a bit. This will turn into 2x squared minus 8x plus, so that's minus 7x minus 3x, that's minus 10x. Then you have minus 4 minus 12, so that's minus 16 all over x plus 4 squared times x minus 4. Which we know in the numerator you can factor out a common 2. This would be 2 times x squared minus 5x minus 8 all over x plus 4 squared times the quantity of x minus 4. And your numerator doesn't factor any further, and nothing will cancel out with the denominator. So the best you could hope to get is 2 times the quantity of x squared minus 5x minus 8 all over x plus 4 squared times x minus 4. I got 2 more. All right. We have 3 terms. So we have 4x over x plus 1 plus 5 over 2x minus 3 minus 4 over x. So we got 3 terms this time. 4x over x plus 1 plus 5 over 2x minus 3 minus 4 over x. All 3 of these terms have 3 different denominators, so that means to get your least common denominator, you're going to have to multiply all 3 terms together. So your least common denominator would be x times the quantity of x plus 1 times the quantity of 2x minus 3. So that would be your least common denominator. Now we need to make sure all these terms have the same least common denominator. So your first denominator, you have x plus 1. That means you need to multiply both numerator and denominator by x times 2x minus 3. So this would turn into 4x times 2x minus 3 over x times x plus 1 times 2x minus 3. Plus, let's deal with your second term. So in the second term, your denominator is 2x minus 3. That means you need to multiply both numerator and denominator by x times x plus 1. So this would be plus 5 times x plus 1 all over x times x plus 1 times 2x minus 3. And then your last term, you have an x, but you need to multiply both numerator and denominator by x plus 1 times 2x minus 3. So this would be minus 4 times x plus 1 times 2x minus 3 all over x times x plus 1 times 2x minus 3. Okay, now that we have the same denominator for all 3 terms, we can carry on. So in the first one, 4x times x is 4x squared times 2x. That would be 8x to the third minus 12x squared. And then your second term, this would be plus 5x squared plus 5x minus 4 times 2x squared, 3x plus 2x minus x minus 3 all over x times x plus 1 times 2x minus 3. Which, let's simplify a bit further. This would be 8x to the third minus 12x squared plus 5x squared plus 5x minus 8x squared plus 4x plus 12 all over x times x plus 1 times 2x minus 3. Which will simplify again into 8x to the third. See, minus 12x squared plus 5x squared, so that's minus 7x squared minus 8x squared is minus 15x squared. All right, let's see, 5x plus 4x, so that's plus 9x. And then you just have a loose plus 12. All that over x times x plus 1 times 2x minus 3. So there's your simplification. And it wasn't pretty, but you end up getting 8x to the third minus 15x squared plus 9x plus 12 all over x times x plus 1 times 2x minus 3. And I do have one more. All right, what's the last one look like? We have 10x over 3x squared minus 3 plus 4 all over x minus 1 plus 5 over 6x. Well, let's try to factor the first term if we can here, which we definitely can. This would turn into 10x over 3 times x squared minus 1 plus 4 all over x minus 1 plus 5 over 6x. Well, we know the first term, the denominator, will factor even a step further. This would actually factor into 10x over 3 times x plus 1 times x minus 1 plus 4 over x minus 1 plus 5 over 6x. So we got a few things going on here. You have a constant term of 3 and 6 in the denominator, and then of course technically a constant of 1. The least common denominator of 1, 3, and 6 is 6. So for sure you're going to have a 6 in your least common denominator. Now, you have then for your variables, you have an x minus 1, and an x plus 1. So you're going to have to multiply all those together, so your total least common denominator would be 6x times x plus 1 times x minus 1. So that one's going to get a little bit hairy. Now, let's look at each term here. So in your first term, your denominator is 3 times x plus 1 times x minus 1. All it needs is a 6x, so you're going to have to multiply both numerator and denominator by 2x. If you do that, you should end up getting 20x squared over 6x times x plus 1 times x minus 1 plus, let's deal with the second term. Your second denominator, all you have is x minus 1. That means you need to multiply both numerator and denominator by 6x times x plus 1. So that just got a little bit hairy. So this would be, the denominator would be 6x times x plus 1 times x minus 1. And then you have your final term. You at least have the 6x going for you on the third term, but you still need to multiply both numerator and denominator by the x plus 1 times x minus 1. So this would be 5 times x plus 1 times x minus 1 all over 6x times x plus 1 times x minus 1. And now we have the same least common denominator on all three terms. So let's figure this out. This would turn into 20x squared plus 4 times 6x squared plus 6x plus 5 times x squared minus 1 all over 6x times x plus 1 times x minus 1, which will distribute everything. You'll end up getting 20x squared plus 24x squared plus 24x plus 5x squared minus 5 all over 6x times x plus 1 times x minus 1. That got a little bit hairy. Now let's simplify by collecting like terms. So 20x squared plus 24x squared is 44x squared plus 5x squared. That would actually become 49x squared. All right, then you have, let's see, 24x, you just have that plus 24x. And then you just simply have a minus 5. All that divided by 6x times x plus 1 times x minus 1. And really, truly, that is really the best we can do here. So you should get 49x squared plus 24x minus 5 all over 6x times x plus 1 times x minus 1. So that's it for adding and subtracting fractions. Next lesson, we're going to deal with complex fractions. So I hope everyone has a great day. Take care.